Hello everybody and welcome back to Stellaris, where we are currently at war with the Han Reconquerors. We're going to proceed forward here one day just to get all of this updated, but we have what I believe to be a bug here. I've done some off-camera investigation. This is tagged as what is called a sealed system, according to the debug tooltip. And I believe that's what's preventing us from jumping in. Now, to be clear, there's no path to the system, but that doesn't actually matter. We're not able to jump drive even if we swap over to the Corellian Foundation, open borders, explore this natural wormhole, and then head through. We're still not able to jump drive into Joomla because, I think, of the sealed system tag. Now, obviously, this is not the way that jump drives work. This is not the way that the game is supposed to work. I'm 99% sure that this is a bug. So I don't really have any compunction with fixing the bug, and I'll show you exactly how we'll do it. We are going to immediately swap over to the Corellian Foundation. We're going to open borders, explore the natural wormhole, and then we have to go through the wormhole because the jump drive is bugged and won't let us go in. That's the way this is going to have to work. That does mean we might have to switch to the Corellian Foundation multiple times in order to reopen the borders during the time that this is happening. So the first step here is we're going to order this guy to go sit at the gateway. So we'll go ahead and enter orbit there, and then we are going to grab a science ship. It doesn't really matter which one, but a science ship, and we're going to have it park at a gateway as well. So just go ahead and enter orbit here. Cool. Then we're going to let them get into those positions. And we're going to then do the actual bug fix once we're in position to take advantage of this as quickly as possible, because we're going to need to re-close the borders once we're through, right? Once we have this jump drive bug fixed. So that will be absolutely fine. We are in position here. So now we're going to need to turn on, and you can see here that I've already done this. I've already tested this here, but we're going to do basically these same steps. And I swapped over to the Han Reconquerors just to see if there was anything in there that would block the jump drive, like any new buildings from the latest patch that I'm unaware of. They don't have anything like that. Their starbase isn't even upgraded here, and on their planet it's all just resource generation. So there's nothing like that in there. This has to be a bug. So first things first, we're going to do debug tooltip. As we did before here, we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to swap to tag 33554454. Perfect. So into the Corellian Foundation. The only thing we're going to do here is we are going to not improve relations. What am I talking about? We're going to open borders. There we go. Now we tag back to 0. The player faction is always 0 for the ID. And then we're going to grab our science chip. And it is going to, I think we need to tick it 1 day for that to update, or maybe a little more. There we go. Now it's updated. So we're going to explore the natural wormhole here. So we pop through, and we'll explore that. I would move these guys through, but previously, you can see here, actually, we had to swap over multiple times in order to reopen because they kept closing their borders in the time it was taking to do this. Fair enough, but we are going to definitely explore this wormhole. And the moment that is done, we are going to leave here. We're going to explore, I guess we could explore these wormholes. May as well. We'll explore that natural wormhole, and we'll explore, there's one over here as well. So we'll get all of those done. Beautiful. Now the question is, can we make it through before they close borders? Well, if they do close the borders, and they instantly close their borders. Okay, so we're going to have to go back here. And then we are going to reopen the borders. There we go. And we're going to go back to ourselves. And we're going to need to send a different fleet through. It doesn't really matter, but it is slightly irritating. We're just going to make our way up over this way as soon as the game registers that the borders are open, and we're just pretending that we're jump driving here. Yes, we're not going to have the 50% malice, but there's no war assets here that are of any threat to us, so that doesn't really matter at all. So I'm not concerned about that. And we'll send those guys on up. They should get there very, very soon. And we just hope that they make their way through before this gets done. And then the question is, can we jump drive out? I actually didn't test that, but we'll find out. So we're making our way over to the wormhole. It's a long ways from the gateway. Not like maximum length, but it's kind of close to maximum length. Cool. So we'll go on through the wormhole and immediately fight them. Beautiful. Now that we're through, we should undo what we've done. So we go back to the Corellian Foundation, and we are going to close borders. Confirm. There we go. And then we are going to swap back to ourselves, and we're going to turn off the debug tooltip. Beautiful. Now I'm going to make a separate save. So we'll go ahead and save this. And this is the save before we made any of those changes. This is a save that I made in the previous testing, which isn't really relevant. But we'll go ahead and make this new save here just in case we now have a bit of a branch. Just in case there are any bad effects from this. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to take over Joomla. The real question now is, now that we control this starbase, can we jump in and out of this system? We can jump out. Can we jump in? Actually, no. Okay, so how are we going to get armies here? Or are we just going to bombard this into a tomb world? That's an option too. That is an option. We could send in our armies via the same method, using the Corellian Foundation, and just pretend that they're jump drived. There's no reason not to, really, in my opinion. I do want to check in on these bombardments here. 2169, 1835, 2500. Okay. What about up in Rebulon? 2500, 7000, 3300. Okay, so that's going to all take time. The correct answer is we should bring this force up. And we should land here. I'm betting that once we have this fully occupied, well, we'd just build a gateway here, right? That's the way that we'd do that. So we would get a construction ship. And we'd pull in a construction ship over here. So like the Tigris. That would come over here as well. There's apparently no route for it to get here. Oh yeah, that would be correct. We're just going to have this one come on over, because this one's sitting in Ultima Vigilis, which is okay. So we're going to pull these over, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go through the wormhole and pretend that we jump drived. And then we're going to fix the problem once and for all by building a gateway in Joomla. So that'll be fine. No actual problems here. We just need to wait for these to show up, and they are going to park right here at the gateway. Beautiful. And now we're going to allow these to enter the system. Yeah, they can't jump drive. This has to be a bug. I'm 100% convinced of this. So we're going to hop back over into the Corellian Foundation here. I don't like doing this again, but it is actually necessary. I was hopeful that once we took this over, we'd be able to jump drive in. We can jump drive out. So once these units are in, it doesn't actually matter, right? So that'll be fine. We're going to need to tag back to 0. Beautiful. And these guys are then going to head into Joomla as soon as that updates, which is now. Beautiful. So in they go, and this is the last time we're going to need to allow this passage. But again, we should have been able to jump drive in. Okay, so we're all in, and now we're going to head back to the Corellian Foundation. We are then going to close borders and head back to ourselves. Okay, that should do the trick. We shouldn't need to do anything else there. So now we're going to begin a landing here. And we're going to build a gateway just to make sure that we have full access here. All right, we're going to have to wait until we have this under our control. This is considered outside of our borders. Once we have the planet, I wonder if we'd be able to jump in. We'll find out. That'll be an interesting test, for sure. But let's go ahead and land on the planet. There's not much here to defend it, so this is not a problem. Yeah, 770. That'll be fine.
Ground assault. Victory.
They're already below the combat width, so this is just free. At this point, these guys can definitely leave, and the way that they do that is, of course, by jump driving out. We can jump drive out of the system, but now we can't get back in, but that's okay. We don't need to get back in at this point. So we're going to jump drive out, and I'm going to send these guys down to help bombard over in, like, Croc. Or maybe even Vaviter. Which one is higher? Vaviter. Okay. That's fine. So we jump drive out. And now we're going to head down over here and help that bombardment. Beautiful. So that's looking good. As far as this invasion goes, we should have this done pretty quickly. They've got xenomorph armies. Hilarious. But yeah, I'm 100% certain at this point that this is a bug. This is not intended to be done this way. You should be able to jump drive to this system. I'm completely comfortable with fixing the bug in this manner. I don't feel like it gave us any advantage whatsoever. It just makes it possible to take this system. So that's completely fine. It's not like they were, you know, rallying their forces here and we couldn't get there because it was behind a bunch of enemies and we couldn't jump drive in that far. No, it's not like that. So this is completely fine. Excellent. We're about to take this, and now the question is, now that this is fully occupied by us, can we jump drive in? No. Okay, so that's good to know. That's the reason we brought the construction ship in here, because I thought that the bug might remain. So we brought the construction ship in to build a gateway, and that's great. We're going to jump drive our fleet out, or rather our invasion army out, and we're going to build this gateway site. The gateway site will take a while to build, and this system will remain inaccessible for us until that is built. And that's fine. We are not going to open the borders again. Period. Cool. So that's great. We can go ahead and activate the surveyor. Excellent. Our economy is looking good, except for exotic gases. I do want to go through our jobs real quick here and see if we can set up a refinery for exotic gases anywhere. What do we have? Nothing thus far. Wait, did I see one up here? On this Forge World. That's full and needs a migration. How are we doing on rare crystals? 35? That's not that much of a surplus. Okay. I was thinking about maybe changing one of these or more than one over, but I don't think that's that great of an idea. So what else do we have here, jobs-wise? A little bit here and there. There's this Forge World here. I'm going to make this be a refinery world. So we're going to put in a refinery world there, and then we're going to put in... Let's see, how much do the exotic gas... Actually, are there any free ones? There's a Betharian power plant here. That's not terrible. So, Betharian power plant, energy grid. And then this would become sort of an energy world. But then we would put in our exotic gas refineries, which... Am I blind? I'm probably blind. Yeah, here we go. We put in a bunch of these. Each of these produce 2. So we'd put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be 10. That would get us positive. And then we would max out our generator districts. And then from there, we would honestly probably go for mining. But that'll do for now. Cool. So that's underway. That'll get our economy under control. These guys are going to need to head into Rebulon. Now, we're not ready to invade any of these just yet, I don't think. Yeah, 6,000 here, 1,900 here, 1,800 here. So those are making progress. Down this direction, we have 1,900, 2,300, and 1,700. So we're definitely making bombardment progress there. Good. I do want to continue to work on getting our fleets built up. So if we come down to our fleets here, we know that we've got the 9th that we were working on. That can be maxed out, no problem. And we don't have a leader here. We'll put in Roberto here. Cool. We don't have a leader on the 10th fleet either. That's going to be Connor Ryan. And we'll go ahead and get that reinforced. We can't afford to max it out yet, but that's okay. I do want to go through all of these and make sure that we have admirals. Okay, the 11th is lacking an admiral, so we'll put in this one. Fantastic. Any more admirals needed? Yes, the 37th needs an admiral. We have a bunch of admirals, and I don't know why. Sure, the 52nd needs an admiral. We can put in this guy. The 4th needs an admiral. This guy. And the 2nd needs an admiral. And that would end up being... I think we have more. Oh, there's so many here. Okay, cool. We'll put in this guy. Excellent. So that'll do. Now, as far as these bombardments go, things are definitely proceeding relatively quickly on all of them. And that's great. We're going to be done with this war shortly. I think we may want to consider landing on Vaviter soon. The question is, when exactly? Vaviter is definitely where we're going to want to land. So let's go ahead and enter orbit there. They've also got their Strategic Coordination Center here that I would love to take. That would get it closer to getting back to the naval cap. Which would be magnificent, by the way. I would very much like that. The 10th fleet is basically ready to be filled out, actually. I'm surprised that this is only costing like 70k per fleet. I expected these to be more like 120k per fleet, but I'll take it. Absolutely. We're going to reinforce this fleet as well. That'll need additional work for sure. And the 6th fleet is going to need to be reinforced. That's now at full strength. I do wish that we could hit this button. But alas, it's slightly bugged. And to be clear, these bugs are very likely because we upgraded midstream. Like, we upgraded from a previous patch version in this campaign. That can cause these sorts of issues. So I'm not claiming that this is like a widespread thing that happens in Stellaris. It's very likely that this is caused by upgrading mid-campaign. To be clear. So I'm not blaming Paradox for this. It's kind of our own fault, but we can fix it. So we're completely okay with it. No real problem whatsoever. We're going to continue to reinforce the 11th. And looking in here, this is saying 50k right now. Yeah. That feels about right. Subtract about 5k from the ghost ships that it always wants to build. And yeah, 43k, that's about what I expect at this moment. So our gateway site up here is still underway. That's going to take a while. Our bombardment on Vaviter, I think once we get down below 1,000 is when we're going to attack here. So we're at 1,100 right now. Cool. That's looking very, very solid. As far as these go, they're going to continue dropping their garrisons for a little bit. The main problem here is going to be Paltalk. For sure. That's going to be a main problem. We're going to have to jump drive past it, almost certainly. But I think it's okay. It should be fine. So yeah, 1,100 here. Once this army is gone... you know what? Let's just go ahead and attack now. It should be fine. It should be more than fine. So if we're going to do that, these two fleets should be moved over to Paltalk. Yes, there's a lot bombarding Paltalk right now. Absolutely there is. Let's hop out of there so that it ticks forward a little bit faster. The 11th fleet still requires some additional work here. We're at minus 13 energy credits. That's intriguing. I didn't necessarily expect to be at minus 13 energy credits right now. Noted. I want you to be automatic survey, if there's anywhere you can survey. There is not. Okay. So there's no automatic surveying to be done. So in that case, we're going to head on back. Actually, go explore this wormhole. There's also a wormhole here. And we know there's one up here, but let's just explore... Actually, no, explore this one first. You're right next to it. Then come over to Dur. Then come over to the Tunari Vortex. Then come up to Cyban. And I think, if I recall correctly... Oh, there's one up in Trappist as well. We may as well grab that one. I thought that was all of them, but no, there was that one in Trappist. Any others that we don't know about right now? Like, we don't know where they go. We've not been very scrupulous on exploring those. But that's fine. Cool. So that'll do for now. 115 now for the energy credits. I wonder if that's a trade issue. Larbo. Interesting. Piracy levels are holding there. So let's go ahead and bring this guy out over to Larbo. This is within the Uvzantitocracy. There's also... Oh, that's also in Larbo. Okay. So let's go clear that out, and let's see what that does for our energy credits. Interesting that it's connected to a gateway, though, and still having some piracy there. We'll see. We'll see what happens once we pop out over there and get rid of that piracy. Should be reasonably good. So the Uvzantitocracy is a long ways away from being annexed, right? No shockers there. We're going to finish off these guys fairly soon. How's our invasion going of Vaviter? It's almost over. We have taken some losses. We're not shocked about that. 1058. And 4230. Okay. Those definitely have some work to be done. Well, specifically Paltalk. Combat width of 6 is a little bit rough here, but it seems to be reasonably fine. We should not be in system here because of all of those ships causing lag. It'll tick much faster if we're in the galaxy map, so that'll be okay. We're hitting the frontline armies, which is ideal. I love it. Cool. So that looks good. We are going to regenerate a fair amount as these guys come back in. And there we go. There's that planet under our control. And next we're, of course, going to head on over to Croc. We'll go ahead and instantly land there. It's already down below 1,000. So with that happening, we are then going to order these guys to come bombard Paltalk. And they'll join the ridiculous number of units there. Wormhole in Dur has been explored. That goes to Ejox? Okay. I guess I missed that unexplored wormhole, but we're bound to have some that connect to each other, right? So that's okay. Minus 17 on minerals is unsurprising. We do have a world that just finished terraforming, and let's go ahead and colonize that world. There we go. And I'd like to continue to reinforce our fleets here. The 11th. Okay. And we are maxed out on our Titans, correct? Correct. Okay, so the Tunari Vortex connects to Cyban. Cool. So we already knew that. Yep, that sounds good. And then we're heading up over this direction. The month tick is occurring.
We have established a new planetary base.
Excellent. New colonies are always great. Gangsters have usurped trade on Kanor. Well, that's rude. Very rude indeed. We will continue to reinforce our fleet. And there is Morakvo here. We may want to declare martial law, or at least... Okay, all we can do here is declare martial law. So we'll go ahead and do that. That will give us some stability. Some. We'll see if it's enough. Being negative in our energy credits and minerals are definitely things we want to address. And we will get to that. But we're landing on Croc right now. That will be done soon enough. But it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to finish our war against the Han Reconquerors and probably start thinking about going against, like, the consonants, is I think what we'll do next. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Rogue Corvid, Anna the Elephant, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. We just finished up that invasion. Fantastic.